Dr. Debbie, Curator of Education at the National Music Museum at the University of South Dakota. This is my assistant, Pierre. He's a coyote puppy, and he doesn't say very much, but he listens very carefully. Today's flute, the one that is used in orchestras and bands throughout the United States, was developed by a German designer named Theobald Böhm in 1832. But by 1847, some of the best Böhm flutes were being made in Paris. One of those Parisian makers had a huge influence on the instrument that is played today. In 1855, flute maker Louis Lott, who had been in partnership with his brother-in-law, started his own business. The exquisite workmanship and elegant design of Lott's flutes was widely acknowledged, and even today, his flutes are valued highly. This flute, now in the collections at the National Music Museum, was owned and played by Georges Laurent, who played flute in the Boston Symphony Orchestra from 1918 all the way to 1952, and most of that time as the first flute player, or principal. The flute was made in 1889. Laurent acquired this flute when he was in his teens studying flute at the Paris Conservatory and kept the flute the rest of his life. Let's hear Stephanie Coker, flute teacher at USD, play on this Louis Lott flute that was made in 1890. This flute has fingering for one note lower than what we see on beginning band flutes. Many flutes today play to this low B, but the mechanism that is used to finger that note is different than what we see here. Unfortunately, while Laurent was with the Boston Symphony Orchestra, the pitch level of the orchestra changed, and he could no longer play in tune using his Lott flute. So he contacted Boston maker Vern Q. Powell about making copies of the Lott flute for members of the flute section at the symphony, except, of course, at the correct pitch level. Powell was able to accomplish that task successfully, and he eventually became one of the most popular flute makers in the U.S. in the 20th century. Let's hear Miss Stephanie play one of those copies made by Powell, this one in 1935. It was made for Laurent's colleague in the Boston Symphony Orchestra, Gaston Bladet.